For the record, Chris Matthews drives a peppy 2016 Dodge Challenger and is perfectly happy with it. His two-door has some serious giddy-up, he says, adding, "I like to drive fast." If he covets the red Chevy Colorado pickup truck awarded to the MVP of Super Bowl's Licks 2 years ago, Matthews isn't letting on. "I wasn't thinking about the MVP award or the car or anything like that," says Matthews, who as a member of the 2014 Seahawks streaked comet-like across the postseason sky, only to disappear almost as suddenly. "I was thinking about getting that ring, 'cause it's such an elite group. Plus a lot of my teammates at the time already had Super Bowl rings, and I just wanted to feel a part of that." After making a clutch special teams play in Seattle's dramatic NFC title game comeback, Matthews was the Seahawks' most effective offensive weapon in their ensuing 28-24 Super Bowl loss to the Patriots, finishing tied with Julian Edelman as the game's leading receiver with 109 yards. That didn't stop Coach Pete Carroll from calling Matthews into his office the following November 17 and cutting him, underlining what a cold line of work both men are in. Matthews was a heartwarming story, a guy who'd gone from hiding in plain sight to the cusp of Super Bowl history to the unemployment line, in less than a calendar year. You may recall that Brady gave that truck to Malcolm Butler, the Pats cornerback whose goal line interception sealed New England's victory. Of course, had Tom Terrific wanted to reward the person most responsible for that Seahawks defeat, he might have gifted the truck to Darrell Bevell, the Seattle offensive coordinator who called for a slant pattern inside the 1-yard line when he had one of the NFL's best short yardage runners in the huddle. If Marshawn Lynch scores, Seattle wins, Richard Sherman contributes one fewer meme to the internet, the Seahawks spend the offseason answering questions about their budding dynasty, and it is Matthews, rather than Butler and Edelman, declaiming in the post-game maelstrom, "I'm going to Disneyland." Unfortunately, that didn't happen, Matthews says. "But I feel like, as time goes on, I'll definitely get back to the Super Bowl, and win one." He said this shortly after the end of the 2016 regular season, which he spent quietly on injured reserve with the Ravens. Early in Baltimore's final preseason game, against the Saints, he tore a ligament in his right thumb while blocking on a punt return. "Tore it all the way through," he says. "My thumb was just hanging there." It was only after the game was over, Matthews caught 5 passes for 64 yards, that he informed the trainers. The injury required season-ending surgery, one more obstacle for a player who has already overcome an array of hardships, setbacks and booby traps. Yet Matthews, who enters the offseason as a restricted free agent, is clawing his way back. Other than creating separation from defensive backs with his deceptive speed and high-pointing balls like Dennis Rodman elevating for a rebound, responding to adversity is what he does best. He's had plenty of practice. As a member of the football team at Dorsey High in southwest Los Angeles, Matthews had to, this will sound familiar, scrounge for touches. In high school, he recalls, "I was pretty much what I've been all the way up to the pros, the backup guy." With a pair of gifted wideouts already on the roster, Matthews was asked by Dorsey head coach Paul Knox to move to tight end, just so he could get us all on the field, Matthews says. He was often called on to block for future UCLA and Green Bay running back Jonathan Franklin. The Bruins were interested in Matthews, too, but he fell short of the school's academic standards. San Diego State dangled a scholarship, only to yank it late in the process. After 2 years honing his football skills and study habits, at Los Angeles Harbor College, Matthews transferred to the University of Kentucky. There, paired with another Packer-to-be, Randall Cobb, he did considerable damage to SEC secondaries. His 9 touchdown catches tied him for the conference lead, his 925 receiving yards ranked 6th behind, among others, Alshon Jeffrey, Julio Jones, and Cobb, and just ahead of A.J. Green. Matthews looked on miserably during the 2011 draft as a parade of receivers, many of whom have now been out of football for years, heard their names called in the late rounds. "Where have you gone, Gerald Jernigan, Chris Dunham, Clyde Gates, Greg Salas, Tandon Doss, Kello Pillars, Ryan Whalen, Ronald Johnson, Scotty McKnight, Stephen Burton, David Osbury, DeMarco Sampson. In all, 28 wideouts were selected in 2011, Matthews not among them. "We were a little surprised by that," his agent, Rodney Edwards, allows. "I didn't know it was going to be such a tough road for him, based on what he did coming out." Uninvited to the scouting combine, Matthews ran a 4.59 40-yard dash at his pro day, fine